Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast and a continuance of my state of the franchise addresses as I look at all 32 NFL teams. And I'm now getting towards the middle of the first round draft order. And the first team who doesn't actually have a first round draft pick, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons ended the season in a three-way tie at the top of the NFC South, with no team in that division achieving a 500 record. So this division is wide open headed into the postseason, and a little bit of improvement could take a team clear in the race to win it in 2026. The Falcons do have some cap space wiggle room to work with, and they're trying to create some more now, which I'll come back to. Well, they're going to create some more, but they have no first round draft pick, as I say, in 2026. So where do they need to invest this offseason to make the improvement required to make them prospective divisional champions next season? Well, let's start with quarterback, and they've been active, or they're going to be active. They're certainly making the right noises and moves in terms of creating cap space. So let's talk about it. Michael Penix missed the second half of last season injured, and will be battling to be fit for week one of next season. Kirk Cousins came out of the cold to lead them to a 5-2 record in the games that he started from week 12 onwards. Now, the Falcons drafted Penix as their quarterbacks of the future. So the job is his to lose, basically, surely. But one thing for sure is that he needs to show improvement if he is to be what the Falcons need him to be when he comes and get them back to the postseason. Now, the way they're creating cap space, the Falcons, is they've firstly restructured Kirk Cousins' current contract, and now they've come out publicly and said they are going to release him at the official start of the 2026 season in a few days, couple of weeks' time. So with Cousins about to be released, Penix is likely to be joined by another quarterback. And what the Falcons are saying is they want to bring in competition for Penix for that starting role. So therefore, it's a bit of a cloudy picture who's going to be at quarterback for the Falcons next season. The person they bring in may well be a cheaper veteran than Cousins, which is where it's going to help their captain position considerably. But as we stand right now, that quarterback question is a big one for the Falcons heading into next season. Right, running back, no question here. Bijan Robinson has established himself as one of the premier running backs in the NFL, and the Falcons have him signed up through 2028. He and his backup Tyler Algier combined for 2,908 scrimmage yards and 19 touchdowns. Algier, who had more rushing touchdowns than Robinson, is now a free agent though. So the Falcons would love to get him back for next season to keep that 1-2 punch at running back in place. The Falcons had the 11th best rushing offense in the league last season, so re-signing Algier would be job done at running back this off-season for the Falcons. But if he decides to go somewhere else, gets a better offer, blah, 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 then they're going to need somebody of his type to come in to fill that position. At wide receiver, now the Falcons ranked 23rd for pass offense last season. The quarterback play was not the greatest, but they also lacked much of a punch at wide receiver. With Drake London missing 5 games, but when he did play, he averaged 76 yards a game. He did play in the games he did play in. For a full season, that would make him a 1,300-yard receiver, which is what he basically was in 2024. Apart from him, they only had Darnell Mooney to offer limited support, but nothing of note beyond those two. Both London and Mooney are about to enter the final year of their current contracts. Locking London up to an extension has to be on the Falcons' to-do list, if not this summer, then very soon. But adding one or two wide receivers to provide a better array of options for whoever the Falcons' quarterback is has to be a need too. So work to do there. At tight end, with London missing 5 games, Kyle Pitts was the Falcons' leading receiver, finally delivering on the promise he has always shown. Having franchise tagged him, that means the Falcons are pretty much set at tight end. On the offensive line, the O-line allowed just 26 sacks last season, and with the running game working well too, that indicates the O-line played very well last season. Right tackle Caleb McGarry did miss all of the season though. Elijah Wilkinson stood in for him and did okay, but is a free agent this off-season. If McGarry is back, this O-line could be even better than it was last season, so it would appear this is an area the Falcons look very well equipped at. Right, before I move on to the D, I'll go for a drink of coffee. Right, defensive tackle. With the Falcons ranking outside the top 20 for defense last season, they certainly need to find ways to improve on that next term. Brandon Dorlus, David Onyemata, and Ruki Ahoroho shared duties on the interior of their D line last season. Dorlus had a 5 season, but Ahoroho struggled a bit. Adding a defensive tackle, particularly a run stuffing one, would look to be a good addition for the Falcons this off-season. And Onyemata is another free agent they need to bring back, unless they feel Zach Harrison is ready to take over his starting role. On the edge, in 2024, the Falcons had one of the most insipid pass rushing units in the league. That all changed in 2025. The aforementioned Dorlus and James Pierce had 19 sacks between them, and the Falcons had 57 in total to make them one of the best pass rushing units in the league. Leonard Floyd and Arnold Ebiketie are both free agents this off-season, so whether both or even one of them are re-signed will determine what the need the Falcons have on the edge. If they re-sign one of them, then that may be enough to see the Falcons leave this position alone this off-season, but they want to try and be somewhere near, if not at least as potent as they were last season. Inside linebacker, the Falcons were well served by Caden Ellis and Divine Diablo last season, with Ronnie Harrison and JD Bertrand backing them up for good measure. Ellis and Harrison are another two free agents, and the Falcons need to re-sign to avoid having them to make any additions in this area. Ellis, in particular, is one they need back. Safety. If the D-line, pass rush, and inside linebacker were good or better last season, then the secondary has to be looked at. The reason the Falcons ranked middle of the league, 16th in fact, for against the pass. Xavier Watts and Jesse Bates were good at safety, though, and with Jordan Fuller having missed most of last season and all three signed up for 2026, safety does not look to be the area they need to look at to improve next season. Cornerback, which that just leaves cornerback to carry the can for the Falcons not having a top 10 ranked pass defense. Mike Hughes and AJ Terrell, I should say, were the starters last season and had just one pick between them. D. Alford largely played nickel and had 3 picks in the absence of Billy Bowman, who tore his Achilles early in the season. Alford is the only free agent of this group this offseason. It would seem likely to re-sign him, but they should also look to make at least one addition to upgrade in this area to give the Falcons one of the best pass defenses in the league. Special teams, both kicker Zane Gonzalez and punter Bradley Pinion are free agents this off-season. Gonzalez did a decent job when he took over mid-season from John Parker Romo, but Pinion did not have a great season, so a change at punter could well be on the cards this off-season. So this sum up where the Falcons are now and what they need to do. The Falcons have plenty to be happy about if they can get the right free agents back. They have the really good O-line with Algier back. They would have a strong running back 1-2 punch or somebody like him, led by one of the best backs in the league in Robinson. They are strong in terms of pass rush, inside linebacker and safety too. Cornerback is an area they could look to upgrade at though. With Kyle Pitts returning at tight end, if they can add 2 wide receivers, then their pass offense should be much better too. But considering how good an O-line they were playing behind, neither quarterback delivered last season, and whoever plays quarterback for them in 2026 is going to be absolutely pivotal in how far the Falcons can go next season. With no first or fifth round draft pick in 2026, the second, third, and fourth round picks need to be optimized in a free agent addition or two alongside that could transform this team from modesty to being very good next season. But they could do with continuing their off-season work after retaining Pitts by extending Drake London's deal and trying to get Algier back to keep the base of their offense in place. On defense, do the same with Caden Ellis and one of Leonard Floyd or Arnold Ebiketie. And the defense should be at least as good as it was last season. Draft pick and free agent addition wise, they need 2 wide receivers and a run stuffing defensive tackle and at least a cornerback to make that jump from mid-rank to top 10 overall next season, as long as their quarterbacks do not let them down. So that's the picture for the Falcons as I see it right now as we head into the postseason. Next up will be the Baltimore Ravens on my, it will be Team 14 that I cover in these pieces. So look for that one coming soon. See you later.